Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Clay, and I am the Bucks believer. One of the most fun storylines to keep track of throughout the course of the NBA Finals is who the favorite is to win Finals MVP. At this point into this year's NBA Finals, it's a hotly contested race between a variety of players, and I think it's really interesting to break down each of these players and talk about who the leader is for the Finals MVP at the current juncture of the series. In today's video, I'm going to be power ranking each of the top 5 candidates for Finals MVP after Game 2. In my opinion, the favorite for Finals MVP so far has to be Chris Paul. Paul has been spectacular so far in the series for the Suns as he has broken down the Bucks pick and roll coverages, both the drop coverage and the switching scheme that the Bucks were going with in Game 1. Paul was particularly effective in that game as he had 32 points on 12 for 19 shooting while adding in 9 assists as well. In Game 2, he wasn't quite as effective as a scorer as he was limited to just 23 points, but he still dished out 8 assists and shot 50% from the field. Paul has also been a dynamite three-point shooter for the Suns so far in this series, as he's shooting 7 for 12 from beyond the arc. Paul's overall effectiveness on the offensive end of the court, as well as his crafty plays defensively, have been a huge contributor for the Suns en route to them taking a 2-0 lead in the finals on the Bucks. So, in my opinion, Paul has to be the favorite to win Finals MVP so far. Coming in right behind CP3 in these rankings is his backcourt partner, Devin Booker. These two players are really close in terms of their candidacy to win this award, but I give Paul the slight edge because he's shooting 51% from the field in this series, while Booker is shooting just 44%. However, Booker has been fantastic in his own right. His Game 2 was particularly incredible as he had 31 points for the Suns while shooting 7 for 12 from beyond the three-point line. He made numerous impossible shots that really put the Bucks in a difficult spot, and he was also particularly clutch as he made those shots at times where the Bucks were starting to put on a run. Booker was able to make momentum-shifting shots that allowed the Suns to come away with that win, so I think that he's clearly a top 2 candidate for this award so far, with loads of potential to pass his teammate and end up winning this award. At number 3, we have our first Milwaukee Buck on this list in Giannis Antetokounmpo. Antetokounmpo has almost undisputably been the best player in this series so far. However, since his team is losing 0-2 at this point, it's impossible for me to put him above the Suns' backcourt. Giannis has been incredible so far in this series for the Bucks, and his Game 2 was downright historic. He had 42 points and 12 rebounds while making 14 of his 17 two-point attempts, and he set a near record as he had 20 points in the third quarter of Game 2 alone. That's the most points scored in a single quarter of a finals game since Michael Jordan had 22 in a 1993 game against the Suns. So Giannis was incredible in that game for the Bucks, and while he wasn't quite as good in Game 1, he still had a great stat line, scoring 20 points and grabbing 17 rebounds. Antetokounmpo has also been very good on the defensive end of the court as he's made an impact as a rim protector, getting 4 blocks in the 2 games, and he's also been very good in switching situations where he's been asked to guard quicker players on the perimeter and has done so just fine. Giannis is a great candidate to win this award, and he's probably the favorite if the Bucks wind up winning this series, so he can't be any lower on this list for me than number 3. At number 4, we have our first non-all-star of these power rankings, and that comes in the form of Mikal Bridges. Bridges had a terrific Game 2 for the Suns, as he scored 27 points while shooting 8 for 15 from the field. Bridges did a really nice job of knocking down corner three-pointers as he made 3 of those. I believe all of them came in the first quarter as he did what he could to keep the Suns in the game after an onslaught of Bucks paint attacks on the other end of the court. And Bridges also built off of that three-point shooting by attacking closeouts and getting himself into the mid-range for some easy shots. Bridges was also able to get to the free throw line in that game as he made all 8 of the free throws, and in Game 1 he worked his way up to 14 points while having some fantastic cuts for the Suns. Bridges has also been great on the defensive end of the court for Phoenix thus far. He's defended Chris Middleton, and while Middleton had a decent Game 1 scoring 29 points on 26 shooting possessions, Bridges completely locked him down in Game 2 as Chris had just 11 points on 5 for 16 shooting. Bridges has been the best role player on either team throughout this series, and he easily earns himself the 4th spot on this list. Coming in the 5th and final place on these power rankings is someone who was drafted in the 2018 draft, just like Mikal Bridges, in DeAndre Ayton. Ayton has played a great series so far, the Suns, as he's put up double-doubles in each of the 2 games, and has been asked to play a very difficult role. He's been very physical both on offense, where he's been a force in the paint, finishing around the rim, especially in Game 1, where he had 22 points and 19 rebounds on 8 for 10 shooting. In Game 2, he wasn't as effective, as he was just 4 for 10 from the field, but he was even better on the defensive end of the court than he was in Game 1, as Ayton had 3 steals and 2 blocks in that Game 2 victory for Phoenix. Ayton has been terrific on both ends of the court, and on defense, he's also been asked to guard Giannis Antetokounmpo for the majority of this series. That hasn't exactly boded well for Ayton, as he struggled to contain the Greek Freak, but overall, you cannot deny the impact that DeAndre has had on this series thus far, and he is a great candidate to slot in the top 5 of this Finals MVP power ranking. Perhaps the single biggest takeaway I have after making this list is the fact that the Bucks only have one of the top 5 players in this series so far. Giannis Antetokounmpo has been incredible, but his supporting cast, particularly Jrue Holiday and Chris Middleton, need to play much better in order for the Bucks to have a shot at winning this series. I'm planning on making a video very similar to this one after Game 4. If the Bucks still have only one of the top 5 players in the series after their 2 home games, I think that this one is probably going to be a wrap fairly quickly. Thank you all for watching today's video. Let me know in the comment section down below how you would rank the top 5 players in this series so far. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe, especially if you are a fellow Bucks believer. This is the place for you. I think that I have covered everything that I wanted to cover, so that's going to be it for me. Ladies and gentlemen, I will see you all again very soon.